This is going to be a chill process video, a process and chill video, where I simplify an old hallway that I had made for my game Knots game. If you want to see how we can make a hallway from scratch instead of fixing an old hallway that's just not as good as it could be, then check out this video right here. This is going to be a process video showing how to make a hallway like this. Welcome back, I'm Westing Tyler, and I'm looking at this old map that I had that I'm kind of reworking for my current project. And this kind of gives me an example of the way I used to model things that's not so great, where I would just do this thing where I would insist that an interior space like this has to be modeled as one continuous piece, which leads to a bunch of weird like cuts and stuff. Like see like how I had like I made this floor and then I had to cut a hole in the door, which means that I have to like cut this stuff into the floor and go all the way up the other side, and then oh looks like I broke something for a change. And so then you have all these random weird cuts. So for example, if I do something I know how to do now, which is press the forward slash to go into local mode, now I can actually select one of those, Shift G, and select all that are by the same normal. Y to detach those. Okay, now this is the floor. In my opinion, this only needs to be like a couple of triangles. Like this is awful complex for no reason. Okay, so like, oop, oop. We'll go through and kind of simplify this. It makes it harder for me because I want to expand this little hallway. I want to have a big whole little section that goes around like this. But like I went into edit mode and I was like, I can't. I have to fix this first. Do 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 do. Let's see. No, that's not a good one. I just I I just don't need it to be so complex. There we go. It can be it'd be nice if it was as simple as possible. I don't really need to make too many more cuts in this. Those doors are parallel to each other, which doesn't. I guess that's fine. I don't know. I don't think I could make that simpler and keep these little nookies that go off. This I can though. Doot doot doot. All those can go right that, like just like that. What is this? I don't know what that is, but I'll fix it. What is also this? This should be a straight thing. I don't know what the deal is. Because I did some weird knife cuts. There we go. Okay, and apart from triangulating it, which you could do without doing this, which won't matter because it's not going to like be cut in a weird way by Unity later when I import it, because it's not really, it's flat, as opposed to like a knee or an elbow where sometimes you want to actually tell it which way that the quad should be cut later on when it does import it into Unity, um, because it'll affect how it looks when it deforms. Delaney King on Twitter made me realize that. Uh, check out her stuff; it's pretty cool. Um, so that's a better floor. It's simpler, and it should also be, of course, detached. But now I can do the walls. Look how complicated these walls are. It's so weird. Let's hit the ceiling, because that's the other simple thing. Okay, Y to attach it, and all Shift H. There we go. Well, there's a little, like the header of the doors are included. Okay. I'm just trying to get this functional. Um, to have a little package because I do want to make this like a little playable thing pretty soon. What is that? Why is that not working? There we go. All right. So again, you have this. And so what was this? This wasn't even like connected, right? Like what is this? What was this? But look at that. That was totally disconnected, even though it's like the roof and it doesn't change at all. So like look at this. Like what is that? This should be like a thing. it's just not really consistent, and it's hard to like make changes later on when you have like sometimes the wall is connected to the ceiling, and sometimes the ceiling isn't connected to itself. Um, just a little obnoxious. Let's see, which one of these is the right one that I just cut that I need to snap to? Hmm. Okay, so it's gonna be this one. So boop boop. There we go. Now it's finally one piece again, like it should be off from the beginning. Okay, boop 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 boop. Boop boop boop. And I'm not tiling the textures on this. Well, I may actually end up. This is going to be so simple that I may just do separate textures for the floor, wall, and ceiling. Or I may like remesh it as a grid so it can tile well with a tiled floor. Okay, there's a roof. It's a little not. I still have troubles with interiors because I like looking down into things, and if there's a roof and walls that kind of get in the way. What is this thing? What is that? If I were starting from scratch, this would have been so simple. Just go boop, 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 boop. And then I would have done the floor, then just copy it and drag it up, flip the normals, and had it be the ceiling. Okay, that's fine. Hmm. This wall is awful complex for no reason. Like, what is this thing? It's not wainscoting. It's just like, see, like I had a cut here for these doors, and I just extended it around forever. And there's supposed to be a door slot there too, actually, which is much easier to cut like this, as I don't have to like deal with the floor and ceiling and making random cuts into those. Oh, that was good. Can we cut the face, please? Thank you. Okay, good enough for now. I mean, I should have made these door slots by putting like a door frame in them, so I could get their spacing and sizing all consistent. But whatever. Okay. See this whole loop cut? It's kind of unfinished. Yeah, it doesn't work if I dissolve it. That's D, right? Yeah, dissolve. So I'll just go around and do this. Hmm. All these can go right there. Boop. That can go there. What is all this nonsense? It's just a wall, and it's a flat one. It doesn't need to have 1 billion jillion triangles on it. See, like that. Look at that. Look at that. That's a wall. Boom. Now, if I wanted to like add wainscoting or something, I could do like this: wainscoting, wainscot, whatever. Let's see. So if I disconnect it just for now, I go through and I do this. I do this. Boop. Then I flip it. I don't know what I just did. I did something stupid just now. I don't know. Must have goofed something. Why did I? What did I just do? That was weird. Okay. So that's one thing. Extrude. Yeah. It's fine, right? Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. And go down here. If I can find the. Hey, look, here we go. Crown molding. Oop. And there are going to be like weird little edges here. And you can do this for an entire wall at once if it wraps all the way around cleanly. And you can just make all of the chair rails and the uh, quarter round at the bottom or whatever, like these, the foot. What is it called? The stuff at the bottom. I'm sure. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking on that word. There, and that's like really simple, like low poly. You just have this look like wood, but like it gets a whole lot better, a lot faster in terms of quality when you start adding like actual shape to it. this. And it's smart to look online for like actual profiles for crown molding, like this little section here. Then just kind of like see which ones you like and which ones work and use those. Same thing for this chair rail that's like it's just very square, which is not bad. I just like to have things scaled in like a reasonably realistic way because I just don't like the look of like when things are just like extra chibi and chunky, but like in a low poly way that looks very flat. Um, and really, if you're being honest, this whole wall should be like out a little bit, but you're gonna have to do some cleanup or model it not stupid the way I do. See, like right there, that face is pointless. Just delete that. Since this would wrap around, I would have done, if I actually were going to keep this, I would have done it with this and that wall at once. So then it would automatically be wrapping around. I would be like extruding outward, doing offset edges, which is really handy. It's like an add-on. It's like an inset, but it's like an outset, or like it can like make an even outset on things, or outset, opposite of inset. There we go. And like for this, the profile is what makes it look real or not, rather than just like a square. I don't remember in my head what a chair rail looks like, which is why this is just a square and doesn't look super real, but as long as it's not super like bloated and just like a big block, it looks okay. And then once you texture it, it'll look pretty nice. But that's just like you can do that on a wall. But see, but I don't need none of this, so boop. Well, that didn't work. See, and since this, boop, there we go, done, back. See, that works just fine. There we go, boop, 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 boop. I have a custom key set up. If I shift and select two edges, hit one, then I can merge. It has to hit F for first. It's just really fast to go boop, 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 boop. There we go. Boop, boop. See, it's like a little puzzle, like optimizing. Like you figure out where you should cut things, where you should merge things, where you should add more detail. It's actually really fun to do. If I had to do one job in the game industry, just one, it would probably be 3D modeling, as long as the expectations weren't too high, since I can do like low poly stuff, but not AAA stuff. And once it's modeled and has a basic texture, I'll get bored of it after that. So like doing normal maps and all this stuff, and it's like past the point of like seeing the big cool improvement. So like I like get restless and I like wanderlust and I want to like move on and do something else. There we go. See, look at this. This is just see like what is this? What is this? Like why are these here? Let's see. Okay, so you got the ceiling. These must have had to do with this hallway. Why? Why were there random cuts like this? And this, I think I should be able to hit dissolve. Wait, well, I also zoomed, but that actually worked. Sometimes dissolve works, sometimes it doesn't. But crap, now I have to hide the ceiling again. Boop, boop, boop. Mm-hmm. That should dissolve, yep. Okay. Don't need that detail there. See, and this is such that I could just like slide this whole thing around or rescale it if I need to. Actually, I'm gonna make sure I select all of it. And I could just do, was it Alt left click and grab that whole thing, except the floor is not connected, so I need to make sure I grab those two. And why is this triangulated? This could be a quad. Make it a little simpler to work with. So then I just gotta click one thing. And if these were connected, that would have continued the edge loop all the way around. I can just do this, move that all I want. G, well, that don't work. That works. See, wherever I want to put it. Scale it. Whoobadabadaba. Oop, that's no good. I would have to, if I wanted to scale it upward, I would have to like select like a bottom point and then hit scale about active element. So now my little doodle's right there. So I can just go. Usually I keep it on median point. It scales around the center, but in this case that would be very bad news because for the floor. But yeah, see that looks simplified. And this right here just makes it easier to work with. Quads are easier to work with because you can have like edge loops and stuff running through them. But in any game engine, it only actually understands, well, vertices actually. But at higher level than that, it understands triangles, but it doesn't really understand quads. So if you have quads, which are already in abstraction, which you have in your modeling software like Blender, Unity will take this and go, okay, this is a quad there, and it'll triangulate it. And the thing is, if you want it to bend a certain way with animation, you should decide where to put that cut. If I want it to be cut this way, I need to do it rather than letting the software do it. Because like there's like a mathematical rule for how quads are triangulated by Unity. Um, and what if I don't want it like cut this way? You know, because let's say this is a hill, or like I want a little slope that goes up here, right? And I want it to cut. Let's see. And I want it to be a slope like that. It's gonna, when it goes into Unity, it's gonna do this. Okay, which is cool, might be what you want, but what if I wanted to do it like this? Okay, hold on, I'm gonna have to, it's being a smart aleck. Okay, there we go. What if I wanted it cut like that? Unity is not gonna do that unless I specify, because it's just gonna take the quad and auto, boop, and cut it like that. So sometimes you want to manually knife something to triangulate it yourself in Unity. Um, Most of the time it's gonna be fine. And if it's not gonna animate, then it's not a big deal unless you want like a hill to curve a certain way as it's, you know, going upward or something. Okay, let's see what we got. And what did I destroy in doing all this? Where's the ceiling? There it is. Okay, cool. So this is my arcade hallway. It's starting to be a thing. This is not dramatic enough because you're supposed to walk in and you see a monster at the end of the hallway. This is like too short and chubby and not enough like shoe leather, like pacing, like to walk you. So it's really easy to fix now that it's all simple quads and everything. Let's make it longer. Let's make it more narrow. If you play PT, you realize that the narrower a hallway is, the scarier it is, because the less you could, I guess, psychologically, you realize the less you could maneuver around a monster or something. There you go. So that's a little longer. That's a little spooky. Make this a little longer too. We could decorate, you know, the hallways, but this is just one of those moments where you can control pacing and the punctuation between regions by controlling the interstitial spaces between them and how big and how small they are. Sometimes you want things to feel close together, so you put them close together. But other times you want the player to have a moment to be isolated and alone and like think. Or just become immersed in the environment while they're doing it. So just making this hallway a little longer in this case is nice. And again, this is a spooky area. So first of all, let's make that a little smaller. That doesn't need to be so big. There we go. I'm not even sure I need this. This was for skee ball. The arcade's up here, but I don't know if we need skee ball back here. It's a little. This is like a little simpler version of my current project. That was the start of this project. That I'm actually working on now, and I'm going back to kind of get this little simpler version done, just so I can get it out there. Um, and There's a lot of changes that I've made to expand the project over time that I'm like, I don't need this for the simple project. Like, look at this, MS unneeded. Like that's just stuff I don't need for this project, but like I have added in for my bigger project. Um, so going back and actually taking things out, editing things out is actually really handy. So that thing was like weirdly. There we go. And also, I wanted to do this in the first place, so detach that. Probably this too. You know what? Now I'm just going to get rid of all this. Then I'm going to simplify this again into a quad, so I can just go boop, boop, boop. There. Now that I have this, here's what I actually wanted to do with this hallway. Boop. And then I go this, and I go boop. Okay. Consider that like that. This goes a little bit like that. This goes down like a this. And it goes out like that. And then this is where that stairwell going down is going to be. Which, is it easier to connect this little piece? Or is it easier just to make another one and go here? There. Delete this. Sometimes it's better to start from scratch on something than to fix something that's like totally weird and stupid. Like I could have remodeled this entire hallway probably much faster than me just cleaning it up just now. But I wanted to clean it up. And it's good practice. And dealing with the doors makes it a little simpler, but yeah. And look at this. Here we go. Here's another thing. Once you've done these kind of corners like this, in my opinion, unless you're tiling stuff, which is totally valid, um, this is not needed. Boop, 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 boop. And oh, now it's all connected. Oh, that's great. So I'll have to kind of clean that up a little bit. Why is that all connected? Why is the floor connected? Oh, because it's right over here. Because I made it one thing. Okay, so I'll just have to. Well, if it's connected, in this case, it'll actually make it easier to model to fix these little. There we go. And the only reason I'm doing these twice, like boop and boop, is because the ceiling's not connected to the hallway. Um, which order of operations can make things easier or worse. Like if I had disconnected the ceiling later, then doing this right now would be easier. So you get a feel for when you should do certain parts of the process, like making things more complex, simpler, disconnecting them. It's like a little puzzle, and it's really cool. This will require some more cleanup, but yeah. Oh, yeah. To show how you could just like do a chair rail around the entire thing. Like, okay, so check this out. So see, it wants to do the loop cut continuously, and I screwed things up here, which is why is that going to continue the? I've been borking this, which is why that doesn't continue around. But let's just, for now, let's say that's you do that, and then I think you do. I think I added it to my quickie doodles. Offset edges. Is that a thing? Yes, but it's backwards. Okay. So let's say width is -0.2. Look at that. See, that's an example of offset edges. It's like inset but outset. So now I have this little thing, but that's a little too far. So let's scroll it in a little bit, just like that. All right, and then we'll go down like this. All right, and then for the actual thing here, I can just do a little bit of these, if I want to connect these. Oh, except it's being a little wonky because I have cut things up stupidly and merged things weird and stupid. So I'm going to do this and snap this up to vertex. I'm going to snap this up to there. Okay. Now for this. This could be done a whole lot better. I'm not really thinking this through. This is why like it's an interesting thing. It's like designing an area the first time is the hardest part. And then like actually improving it or making a better version is pretty simple later. Because you know what you want and you know how to do the steps better so that you may have less cleanup work to do afterward. Whereas like I'm just adding this chair rail on the fly, so I didn't plan building out the wall in a simple quad way to make it simple. I started merging things over here, which messed up the edge loops. Look at this right here. Let's fix this. This is actually really easy. Because I can just use the snapping to go boop, boop, and go boop. That's one thing I hate about Blender, is how you can't click through back faces. If I try to... Oh my god, I have to like get like right in here. Then I can click through. Well, maybe it's just something other that's stupid. Why can I not click this? There we go. I was able to get it all the way around. And this is just the hidden stuff that you're not going to see. And I could have done this way simpler. Uh, there are plenty of ways to do this kind of thing. Like if I wanted to do it like just do this, then do this, turn off snapping, and then do this, select it, and then do extrude along normals. Yeah, look at that. Boom, done. If I actually wanted that here, then I could have just done that. And again, if I had kept my quads clean and maybe not added the door holes yet, then I could have gone whoop, all the way around and made chair rail, crown molding, whatever you want, wainscoting, in one simple little situation. So I'm going to undo all this since I don't want none of it, and hope that Blender's undo goes back far enough for me to actually not screw myself. And nope, it doesn't. There's a way to adjust that. I should probably find that out. It's really obnoxious. Okay. So now I'm going to have to manually go in and do this. Since there's loop cuts, I can remove them with the dissolve. There we go. So that gives us an idea of what it's like to fix this. So that looks pretty good. Now I just got all these other ones to do. And then I have to actually look at them and say, do I actually want this really old crappy model for this area in my game, or do I want to totally redo something? And I'm trying to keep this simple so I can actually get it made. This little simple side project, which is the original idea for Knott's game. And there's the arcade room. But yeah, so that's kind of how you can simplify some geometry or fix old geometry, and just don't feel like you have to make something like model something as a single piece. Like it's not that much of a puzzle. A floor can be separate from a ceiling if it makes it so that your wall doesn't have to have a bunch of random cuts in it that don't need to be there. And again, this is how you're going to do this is going to depend on if you're going to be tiling the textures later. On PlayStation 1, they needed to tile their textures because they needed to cut their geometry to prevent it from distorting because of fine texturing. So they had to do like this kind of stuff, and then they would manually place the textures everywhere. It adds a lot more geometry, um, but if you want to tile smaller textures, it can work. But I don't need to do that just now. And then, of course, for good measure, we should throw some textures on it. Let's grab our palette right here. All right, use our classic URAS0. URASO. Sounds like an insult, but it's not. Okay, let's see. So, URAS0. All right, let's make it start like that. Let's do the floor. Let's do green. How about that? Right now I'm going to select the floor, the normals of the floor. All right. Invert the selection. All right. Let's do, so for the walls, we'll do, I don't know, let's do something cool, like it's an arcade. There we go. Kind of red like that. And then for the ceiling, that's going to be its own thing. Usually white for ceilings, usually. You can walk around. It'll be a lot better when it's actually textured. But because it'll have this cool like checkerboard floor and posters on the wall and everything. But you get the idea. So that's a really simple, basic way to do this. If you want to see a video where I go from start to finish of creating a hallway from scratch and then adding these kind of simplified textures to it, then check this video up here. Sometimes starting fresh is better than fixing the geometry of an old thing that was made when you didn't know as much about how to do these things as well. So check that video out. I tried to make it shorter. Turns out it was longer, but hopefully it's entertaining and informative. I guess that's all for now. I'm Westing Tyler. Thanks for watching.